moved.
All right. I'm going to call this meeting to order. It is Kristen, are you there taking minutes for us? Thank you, dear. That's the first item on our agenda is our call to order. It is 1:36 p.m. January 19th, 2021. I'd like to call this meeting of the Cumberland County Library Board of Trustees to order. The next thing on our agenda is our approval of minutes from Tuesday of January 21st of 2020. It has been a while since we've had an actual meeting. So do I have a motion to approve those minutes? They were in the packet that was emailed to you.
I moved.
I'm sorry, who moved?
Bob and I did. Pick one.
Okay, Bob. Motion to approve. Second. Kathy?
Second.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it is so moved. The next thing I would like to do is to welcome Joe Looney.
Thank you.
I hope that you see Joe. We are so grateful that you agreed to be on the board. You just bring a wealth of information for us. And years ago, Joe and I served on a board together, this board, a long time ago, right, Joe?
All right, long time.
Yes, indeed, in the old building, or the former building, I guess I should say. So the next thing after that is our financial report, but I see that James left and Doug's not here. So I don't know what to do yet. Kristen, did they tell you why they had to walk out?
He said he'd be right back, so we can probably just skip this and come back to it. Otherwise,
Okay.
Your packet, if you want to look it over,
I tell you, we'll just wait on that till they get back. And I know that Matt had emailed earlier to myself and James that he has a 2 o'clock meeting. So we're going to just flip flop some things and let Matt go ahead with the regional library director's report. So Matt, I'm going to turn it to you now. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. It's good to see everybody this afternoon. And I do apologize that I have to leave, but I wanted to make it a priority to be here for at least the first part of the meeting and to be able to address you all. It's been an interesting year, I think, for everyone, obviously. I know several of you, especially those of you who serve on the regional board, have been hearing from us continuously. But rest assured, we've been bugging James and the administrative staff fairly often, I think, over the last year or so. Currently, at the moment, all regional staff are basically under orders to work from home from the Secretary of State. He gave this order right around Christmas, not long after the governor's last speech about the COVID-19 pandemic situation. So currently we're all working from home. We're under a complete travel ban, unfortunately, which means we're basically not allowed to come visit anybody. And this does unfortunately also include our IT staff, although they have more remote ways of accessing computers and can still provide plenty of help that way. So just because we can't go anywhere doesn't mean we're not helping out to the best of our abilities. Hopefully, well, these current orders will probably be reevaluated here at the end of January, and we'll see where we go from there. In the meantime, we've been providing lots of virtual learning opportunities and talking opportunities to our libraries and our library staff. We've continued offering in-services over online platforms like Zoom. In fact, we've got one coming up next month from the Oral History Association of Tennessee on oral history programs at your library. Of course, this isn't the ideal time to have any sort of programming at a library, but we're hoping to go ahead and plant some seeds in our libraries for programs that they're able to create and host later on. We have to keep thinking about the future and thinking about how we're going to be providing programming to all of our communities and all of our libraries. So hopefully we'll be giving everybody some good ideas on on how to incorporate oral history programs into public libraries. So we're really excited about that and looking forward to that as well. We are also offering virtual roundtables for our directors that gives our library directors a chance to get together, talk, basically compare and contrast notes and see what each other are doing right now. It's a good opportunity, I found, for our directors to ask questions and find out what their colleagues are doing in other counties. So we're currently planning one that will probably be within the next couple of weeks. James, I'll send you some more information on that as soon as we've settled upon a date. And those are always, I think, good opportunities for sharing among the public library. So we're excited that we're able to keep doing that and keep offering that opportunity. I emailed everybody a couple of documents, and if you didn't receive those, please let James or myself know, and we'll make sure that you get a copy. But essentially just a short written report about things that are going on right now, including information about the governor's extension of the allowance for electronic meetings like this one, which currently that allowance has been extended through the end of February. If all keeps going as it is now, I expect that to be extended again, at least another month or so. But the governor uses that time to evaluate the situation, and it's usually at the end of that previous extension that he extends it again, we found. So I do expect virtual meetings like this to be allowed probably at least through all of the spring. But we'll know more, and we'll of course let everybody know as soon as we know something about that. Also, one of the things that we've been doing constantly is monitoring the situation in all of our libraries to find out what sort of operating hours they're maintaining, what sorts of services they're able to provide the communities. And we do our best to collect that data. I think once we are through with this pandemic, we're going to have a lot of information that we can go back and look to see how it affected our public libraries, and through that, how it affected our communities. So we're constantly looking for ways to collect that information. And one of the things that I emailed to you was a report. Basically what we are doing right now is the first week of every month, we want to take a look at the snapshot of what your operating hours look like that month, whether you're completely open with no restrictions, whether you're offering limited services to the public, or just engaging in curbside service or some similar service. Or whether you are closed, if you've had to close due to COVID exposure, for example, or for any other reason. So that's something that we've been trying to figure out a way to collect that information, because of course, everything moves so quickly, and it can be hard to keep track of everything. And there's always context that's required. The information that we collect for Art Circle, for example, would be different than the information that we collect for Fentress County, let's say, because their library is much smaller. They have a smaller staff. If one person tests positive, that entire library closes down for a period of time, for at least 2 weeks, until everyone can get checked out. And we've seen that. We've seen this happen in 3 or 4 of our libraries already, where they have had to completely shut down due to exposure and positive tests. And they always wait, of course, a safe period of time before they reopen. So it's been a challenge keeping track of everything. We've been doing that to the best of our ability, of course. And you're always welcome to contact us if you have any questions. If you want to know what your neighbors are doing, essentially, we're happy to provide as much of that information as we can. It's been a lot of trial and error, I think, figuring out what it is that we need to know, and trying to make sure that we're on top of the latest information and the most relevant information for our library. So that's essentially what we've been up to for the past year. It's been a lot of work, but hopefully we're collecting a lot of useful information, and we're doing our best to continue guiding our libraries and our library boards on best practices and procedures and that sort of thing to make sure that everybody is safe and that everybody is still able to provide services to your community, which is, of course, what a library is all about. So unless anyone has any questions, I believe that's all that I have for you today.
Are there any questions for Matt? I have one. I noticed in the recent things you sent to us, I was just glancing before our meeting started. There was some person who had gone through the certification or a library board member. Have you worked on people who need to recertify like myself? Is that available to us yet?
So very recently, I've not had a chance to report on this yet. But you'll be happy to hear this, Melanie, because I know you were one of the earliest trustees to certify. The regional directors got together at a meeting last year. It was a virtual meeting, of course, but we came to a decision that the certification period, which originally was planned for 3 years, should be extended to 6 years, so that certification would last all of a trustee's possible terms serving on a board in one go. So the idea now is that hopefully, as soon as you join a board, you go through certification, you're certified for the 2 terms that you can legally serve. And then after you roll off, after you've done your time on the side and you're eligible to return, if you wish to return to the board, then we would undergo a certification process. And we already have those modules ready to go. And we will probably at some point in the near future go ahead and release them because they're great sources of information. But as of yet, there's no need to recertify. I believe the first trustees to earn their certification did so during the 2015-2016 fiscal year, which means that next year, 2022, we've worked it out. Don't worry. This all makes sense mathematically. It's just very confusing when we try to explain it. By June of 2022, all of those trustees who received their certification right when we started the program will be eligible to recertify. So we'll provide more information as we get closer to that time, Melanie, because I know that's something that you'll be interested in, but there's no need to worry about it right now.
Well, I had really forgotten it till I saw that on that paper today. And Joe, this is it's courses that you go through. It's not terribly time. I mean, it's what, I don't know how many hours it takes to go through the modules, but when we are certified, Joe, for different things that James applies, different grants, it really helps if the majority of us are certified. It's like we get points and it moves us further up on the eligibility to get those grants from the state. So that's something that I would really suggest and really hope that you would look into. If you would for us, that would be great since you're just now coming on the board. I guess that's, it's your choice whether you choose to do it. I can't make you do that. Neither can James or Matt, but we really like it if our board members do. And there's several of us that have gone through this. So I just wanted to talk about that for a moment since, Joe, this is your first meeting with us.
This is an online course, I assume?
Matt can answer your questions on this.
Yes, sir, it is. And there are 10 different modules to it. It's a work at your own pace sort of online course. And as long as you received that report that I emailed out to everybody, it should have the address, where to go to, how to register listed there on it. But if you have any questions, you can contact Melanie or James, and they'll get you in touch with me, and we'll do whatever we need to do to make sure that you're able to get into the program and earn your certification if you wish to do so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. And Matt, I appreciate all that you always bring to us. And Debbie, welcome in. Glad to see you. And if there are no more questions or any comments for Matt, anybody? I'm looking through. Okay, then James, when you and Wayne walked out, we just flipped the agenda. So now we're ready for the financial report. And I don't see Doug. So is that something you can handle for us?
If anybody has any questions about the financial report, nothing really remarkable, except I am keeping an eye on the book budget, which is a little bit overextended at this time. I'll be monitoring that for the next couple of months before I make a decision on whether to recommend a line item transfer from some other fund in our budget. But at the moment, nothing remarkable is happening with our budget, except for in the book line item, which I'm watching carefully.
Is that because we have spent more on ebooks?
Yes, I went a little wild early on.
Well, I don't think anyone's faulting. They just are expensive, and we know that. So, any other questions for James on financial? Okay, then we'll turn it on then to number 4, director's report and staff reports.
All right, well, I have 2 staff with me if they wish to speak to anything. There's just too much to cover over a year's worth of non-reporting. The main thing is that I have tried to attend those commission meetings that have been open to public, budget meetings, any county meeting that I needed to attend, as long as it was open to the public during the pandemic. There have been a couple I've listened to virtually, but there was no participation allowed. So basically, it's just been a locked-in type of world, even for us. We shut down almost immediately about the 3rd week of March during the start of this whole thing. In June, maybe, in July, we opened up to pickup service only for a couple of months. Was it June, July? Maybe it was May, June. May, June, we were pickup only, just because I was too lazy to walk out to a curb and hand somebody a bag. And then in July, we started opening the library back up for come in, browse the selection, get your material, check out, and then leave. We did not provide any seating or table or computer arrangements at that time. I believe we opened up seating and computers to the public in August, all being very aware of the social distancing requirements recommended by the governor's office, the CDC, and other health officials. At the present, we've not changed that model very much. We are open to browsing. We have table seating available, 1 to 2 persons per table, so that they can have access to their handheld devices, laptops, and wireless internet. We have some soft seating spread out. We have computer internet access available through the public computers. Again, each of those computers are 6 foot part, which dramatically reduced the number of public computers we have available. Everything else is pretty much same old, same old. We currently are not allowing the use of study rooms, conference rooms, or meeting rooms very much. It's only on special request and only if there's a very minimum of persons attending an event.
Okay. Does anyone have questions for James? Or Wayne or Kristen? Or Joyce that we can't see?
I've got an archive report.
Okay, let me make another couple of comments here then, and then if Kristen and Wayne or Joyce want to report on anything. In this year's fiscal capital budget, we were allotted $30,000 to carpet the first floor here in the library. Of course, that was approved. So we have gone through the bidding process. We've gone through the selection process, and we've gotten the final stamp of approval from the finance committee to proceed with the project. So last week we placed the order for the carpet, and we have our timeline for installing new carpet here on the first floor. Now, our plan is to down the library services except for pickup. We'll go back to that model. We're going to shut the main services of the library down February the 8th. Again, February 8th, we will be a pickup only library like we were during the pandemic down here at the electric doors. The staff will have about a week along with a lot of volunteer assistance, we hope, and moving those things that we need to move to prepare for the carpet layers to come in and begin their job. The carpeting is estimated to take about 2 weeks, in which, depending on how they decide how they're going to lay and what path they're going to do, as to whether we can get an early started moving back into any of our spots. We will also, at the end of the period, we'll have a week to move back into our offices, move shelving back into place that we move, materials and things like that. So we plan on reopening the library March the 8th. So we will be shut down a solid 4 weeks to the public, and that will include all services except for picking up items at the end of the hallway, and those have to be pre-reserved through a list. So that's about my report on the carpeting. Again, we're going to do it. The carpet color, the main carpet color is going to be just like it is upstairs, and then we are changing the carpet color in the children's library, which we expect to be very exciting.
Well, that'll be something for us all to look forward to looking at. And I'm just real pleased that the commission, I know they were saying a no growth budget, but I'm so happy they remembered that they promised us that this last year for this year. So Terry, thank you to the commission. Yes,
Can you
indeed.
hear
We're
me,
always,
Melanie?
yes, I do. Thank you, Terry. We're always
You're
so
welcome.
grateful. So,
James?
Wayne? No, Bob.
No, wait a minute, I hear
Bob.
Bob.
Are you carpeting the area under the Friends bookstore? Or is that tile?
I believe that's all tile. There's no carpeting there.
Okay. I was thinking if that was going to be carpeted, that'd be a way of having a different color to delineate that area again that everybody seems to be confused about.
Yeah, no, that's all tile, so we won't be moving any items there.
All right, thank you.
Kristen, did you have anything to report on?
We learned a whole lot about video editing this summer.
I'm sorry, I couldn't catch what Kristen said. I'm sorry.
A whole lot about video editing this summer between me and Brian and Patty B. From I think roughly June to December, we made well over 30 videos that we all posted to YouTube. A lot of them have come down now because of publisher restrictions, and they were story time videos. But we just kind of managed.
Yeah,
Is anyone else having difficulties hearing?
Yes,
Me.
Oh, that makes me feel better. I think it's on that end then.
It is, it's the room.
I think it is the room. It's echoing.
okay.
That I can hear James pretty well,
Okay.
I think you all need to congregate around the microphone.
or something.
Put your mask on.
Yeah. I know about the YouTube channel that the library that Kristen and Patty and Brian did for this summer reading program and did it online. And I just applaud you for being able to still continue outreach in such an unusual time that we find ourselves in. So I applaud you for that. I thought it's just wonderful, the things that you were able to do and accomplish. And I don't know if the rest of you saw any of them online, but they were just
Really great.
They really were. And that you did the kits. So the kit, and I think you even mailed some of the kits to people who had registered for the children's reading program, didn't you?
I believe Patty did.
I did.
If they couldn't pick it up, you mailed. And I just think that's, you're to be commended for still we are doing what we're charged with doing, and that is to take care of the community's needs, but doing it in a safe and a safe way. But anything from Wayne?
I think I can add something. We've been able to have a change of our art displays throughout this pandemic. So every 2 months, we've been able to put up different art. And come February and come March, we will have the children's art. They've committed, the schools have committed to having the children's art for March and April. So we'll have that on display come the end of February into March and April. We've also been running our book clubs, but virtually. So a smaller group, but we're doing Zoom on our book clubs that we run here. And the other thing is that if you didn't know, we now have 2 notaries in the library. I've become a notary, so Kristen and I are available throughout most of the day to take care of anybody's needs. We also have displays in our display cabinets, which we change periodically. And for the next 2 months, January and February, the advocacy group, the Cumberland Advocacy Diversity Group from Fairfield Glade has got this month a display on Martin Luther King, and they're going to change that to next month for Black History. So we've been trying to keep that up for the patrons that have been coming into the library.
Okay, that is good. Now, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, is it still just James's area that sometimes comes and goes? Okay. Well, I think that's great that you've been able to do those things. I'm sure. Anybody have comments for the crew sitting in my upper left-hand corner?
Well done.
Yes, yes. Okay, then we'll go to our next item, which is the,
Joyce needs to make her report.
oh, I'm so sorry. I
Archives?
forgot. I'm sorry. Archives, Joyce.
Yeah, I'm the little black square.
Okay.
Your staff.
I just wanted to report that tonight, the commission who is meeting virtually is putting up the final vote for the archives, and everything is in place. James and I have been attending the meetings, and the budgeting is all taken care of. The money has been accrued in the account to start, and the county's going to cover hold the mortgage. The architects were in here today doing a couple of final measurements, and they'll be starting on the regular plans as soon as they get the go-ahead from the commission tonight. They've been working downstairs off and on to try to make it ready, but it's been dragging, trying to get some of the electrical done downstairs so we can move the records when we get word. We've been trying to go through some of the records, make sure our records are tidied up and everything so we can move things when the time comes. Our volunteers have fallen way by the wayside due to the COVID. People are afraid of catching it and this kind of thing. We do request that the people that do come in mask, and we have been masking ourselves. So we have been very lucky in our health issues here. And we hope that when this dies back, that we will have a lot of our volunteers back. So right now we're kind of running on a thin staffing. But other than that, we've been open. We've got some of the computers shut down, so people are 6 feet apart when they're here. We just cater to an older clientele, and so our clientele has dropped off quite a bit too because of the fear of COVID. So that's pretty much where we stand. We're putting right along, and we're just eager to get going on this building project. Any questions about that?
I'm curious, where are you going to be housing the records? Because I know that area of the building is going to be taken down.
They're prepping the area underneath the original part of the building where the Sunday school classes and everything are.
Yes.
They've been doing some electrical work. They've put a dehumidifier in there. They've still got a lot of ways to go, and they haven't started moving any of the alarm systems and that kind of thing until we get final go ahead. But I think things are going to start popping once they finally do the passing and word gets down to maintenance and everything that we're ready to go. Then they'll finish up downstairs, and by the time the plans are drawn up, hopefully.
I'm glad to see they're not going to be scattered among county buildings. I'm glad you're going to be able to house them there.
No, we're keeping everything.
That's good.
We're keeping everything here, and as much as possible, we're going to stay open. What the architect is planning is making the new build an abutment. So he'll seal off our part of the building and literally tear down the rest, and we can hopefully stay open as long as they get the alarm systems moved, electrical moved, that kind of thing. So we're not looking at too much downtime.
Okay,
What kind of
good.
time frame are we talking about for the project?
I'm sorry, what kind of what?
Time frame?
Once they start the build, they're looking at 14 months.
Okay.
And he's hoping to, within 6 months, to get it started.
And approval is this evening?
Yes, it's the
This is
final
the
approval of the commission. We've been through budget. Everything's been all set up, been talked to death. Yes, Terry. We appreciate all of Terry's help too, by the way.
Yes, you're welcome.
All right. Any other comments for Joyce? I don't hear any, so I guess now, is it the foundation's report, James, next?
Yeah, the foundation. Wait a minute. Yeah,
We
the
did-
foundation would be next. Becky Chamberlain was not able to be with us today, but I will mention a couple of things. Of course, as you have all no doubt heard of the passing of Miss Brown, Miss Diane Brown, passed recently. So the foundation has been, they approached me for suggestions of something significant that they could do in her name and honor here at the library. we kind of felt putting a plaque on the end of a bookshelf just really was not significant enough, because of all of the work and heart and soul she put into getting this building where it is today, and fundraising and all of the things that her and her daughter did to get us where we are today. So with the help of some board members and staff, I came up with an idea which you may not be able to visualize, that at your first opportunity, come in and I will definitely show you what I propose. But I would like a motion today to see if we can to see that this is carried through. But on the second floor, if you know where the cherry table is, we call that the Tennessee Reading Room upstairs. My idea would be to rename that area the Diane Dorton Brown Reading Room in honor of Miss Brown. And I think that's a very significant thing. And the foundation asked us for suggestions for. So that's my idea. So I wanted to bring it before the board and get your thoughts and so on.
Okay, you've heard James's idea for renaming the Tennessee Reading Room to the Diane Dorton Brown Reading Room. Do I have a motion from a board member that be done?
So move.
I'll second.
Okay. Kristen, do you have those motion in the second? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is so moved then, James, to rename the Tennessee Reading Room to the Diane Dorton Brown Reading Room. Kathy, did you have a comment? I'm sorry, I should have said.
I'm curious, do you just plan to rename it, or is there anything else that you're considering doing to that area, perhaps in her honor?
No, just renaming the area.
Well,
I'm assuming you'd put some signage of some kind up.
We currently, through the original architect for the building, have contacted the place where the letters came from. So we're in the process of getting a quote on what it will cost to do the additional lettering for that area.
It might be helpful also to have a picture hung in that area of her, as well as a biographical sketch, because she did a lot for the library. She did a lot for the whole community as well.
That's a very good idea.
A member of the art circle from the get-go, one of the founding members of that.
Yeah.
And she
And
is
I would-
huge.
Well, her mother was. I don't know
Yes.
if Diane was, but
You're
her
right.
mother was one of the founding members of
But I
Art
would think
Circle.
that the foundation might be willing to put some money towards that, and having something very special put there in that room with her photo and everything. So
I think that
Oh,
would be
that
a
is
great
good.
addition to the area. So James, could you maybe talk to the foundation about that?
I'll pass that along. Yeah.
I think it's an excellent idea to rename it. But
yeah, I do too.
Yes, that gives it a little more substance there for that. And you're right, she did so much for.
It's a good idea because a lot of people may look at that and say, who is Diane Dorton Brown? But if there's something there to visually identify who she was and what she did, it'll make more sense. So yes, that's an excellent idea.
Yes, I agree. Any other discussion? Okay, then we'll go to the next item, which is the Friends of the Library report. And we have a new president that's with us this month. Welcome.
Thank you very much. We have done very little, but next week we are having our first board meeting to to organize our year. And since I'm new on board, I don't really know all that much about what's been going on, but I hope to get on board then.
And would you please introduce yourself for everyone?
Yes, I'm Alta Rowell. I was president a few years ago, and they were having difficulty, and I only agreed to serve 1 year. We'll see how this goes.
We know how that sometimes lands into another year and another year for that.
Being a board member of the Friends also, let me just kind of recap a little bit, maybe for the benefit of everybody. The last meeting, the last membership meeting the Friends had was in March. So it's been a while since anybody's been together as far as the Friends. Newsletters have been going out on a regular basis, at least since September, I'm pretty sure. They've been trying to keep the membership up to date and what's going on and closings and things like that. The Friends had a speaker every month come in. Because of COVID, that wasn't possible. So what the board instituted was a little bio, if you will, of a speaker or someone in the community that would be of interest to the members, and they include that in the newsletter. So it's a 3-4 paragraph. Here, this is me. Here's what I do, kind of thing. I think they call them sharing their stories in the newsletter. It's just kind of a background for interesting people. We did not have a book sale in October. What we had was a bookstore clearance sale. And it was rather unique because it was an ongoing sale. As long as the library was open, you could come in and buy books. It was rather unique. They hadn't tried anything like that before. And it turned out that it worked out pretty good. We brought in over $2,000 in the month of October.
That's great.
Isn't that more than really the typical sale?
Yes.
Wow, that's
Without
great.
all the work.
It turned out to be a fantastic way to get rid of a lot of books and make some money. So that, and 90%, 92% of that, I believe, went right back to the library, directly to the library. So
30%
yes, that it worked out pretty good. The Friends are now in the midst of the membership drive. That's going pretty good. I think they're at least on target or a little bit ahead for membership. I haven't seen an email recently on that, but I know they were doing pretty good on the memberships. And again, we had elections via email. Alta was the ultimate winner. Everybody else stayed on board in the positions that they were in. Dolores had to step aside. I don't think she would have, but she did. Her 3 years were up. I think she hated to walk away from that, but Alta will, I'm sure, do a good job. And welcome from the Friends Board. Welcome.
Thanks, Bob.
I think that. Go ahead.
Well, I probably would have kept tuned into what the Friends had been doing, but I sold a house toward the end of the year, and that just about wiped me out. So I've got a lot of catching up to do.
Yes.
I'm sure.
It's been a difficult year for the Friends because they're very group oriented, if you will. Everybody participates and helps, and not being able to get together is really
It is
taking it.
tough, yeah.
And I hopefully, if we get maybe Alta, you want to try some of these virtual meetings or something like that. I think we need to get back where we were and get moving again.
We'll have to try something, won't we, Bob?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That I can't think of anything else that that we were doing during the year.
Any other comments for Alta or for Bob? I'm really happy to hear about how much money they made during that sale. That's at least something positive.
I think that was a
came out of
surprise
that.
for everybody.
Yes, truly.
When that's selling children's books for a dime.
And still everything added up to over 2,000, you say? So that was a lot of books that walked out during that time period, for sure. Our next item are the committee reports, and the first one is nominating committee. In fact, there's two different things on nominating committee. So Kay, do you want to just address all of that at one time?
The nominating committee, we will, I'll be calling and doing email, not doing a virtual, because we have 3 members who are up for end of term. Melanie, end of a 3-year term, and Debbie, end of a 3-year term. And we're hoping that both of these will come back. Both of these board members will come back for an additional 3 years. And I end my term as regional board member, 6-year term. So we will be working in March and presenting to the board in March a slate of replacements or continuations of terms for those 3 that are up. And that's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you, Kay. The other item is the policy committee. And this was something we did right before the shutdown last March. And we were looking at lots of different policies, and I'm just going to refer this now to James to talk to you about the policies we were working on, because I think he's been working even further. So James, can you take over this conversation, please?
Yeah, very briefly, we were working on, we had worked on several different policies just before we shut down, so we didn't get to have the meeting where these policies would have actually been presented to the full board for action. So I'm just recommending that we just file this report in the minutes as a report and take no action on any of these policies at this time. During this pandemic period, I have worked on most all of our policies over the years. So I have updated and all of those policies. I have new recommendations to bring forth. And so I would just recommend that in the next few months, maybe we bring together a new policy committee to review those recommendations and updates. And then sometime mid-year or in the fall, we just present the entire upgraded policies to the board for approval. So right now, I would just file this as a report, but take no action on any of the recommendations in the report.
James, wasn't our intent trying to bring the library in alignment with the county policies? That was the gist of why we met last March.
There was some policies that we needed to yeah, bring up to speed with county policy as far as the holidays
Right.
and such, and some personnel policies. But then the pandemic hit, and that created all kinds of new policies that we have written but not approved in light of the situation. So again, I need to review all of those in the next couple of months, bring the new policy committee together and to review those updates and changes, and then just present a complete package to the board for one action on the entire package.
Whole day.
Pardon? I'm sorry, Kathy, what?
A whole day.
Really?
I think that would be a wise thing. And another thing I know that James does do as he's looking through policies is he sends things to the county attorney to have the county attorney look over to make sure that we are doing our due diligence on our policies. So isn't that correct, James?
Yes, any policy I present to the policy committee, that can be assured that it has been vetted by the attorney, and who has seen no problem with anything in the policy as I present it. So
That's great. So we'll just
have access
continue.
to a very good county attorney who tries to keep my britches out of the hot water.
Well, you don't have a habit of getting your britches into hot water, and we don't want you to start either. So,
I'm throwing out of the library and when.
so is that are there any other, does everyone pretty much agree that we really need to do it that way until we can meet together on the policies? So,
yeah, our policies are behind. We do need to catch those up, hopefully in mid-year or in the fall. But I do recommend just doing it as a package.
it sounds fine to me. Any other comments from anyone? Okay, Kay, are you still with us?
Yes.
Okay, I saw the planet, but not you, so I didn't know.
That means she's doing research.
Number 9 on our agenda is unfinished business. And I can't remember if there were anything that we didn't finish. I don't think so. Anyone have a comment about unfinished?
Kristen is checking the minutes to make sure.
I didn't see anything in my notes.
I didn't think so either, but I'll let her look. I don't think we had any.
And there was nothing unfinished, and the only new.
Okay. Then we will go right on then to new business, and that is the election of officers. Now, normally we do that at the new fiscal year in July, and we did not meet. I think we sent out an email that said those that were currently in the positions of officers would just continue until we got through this pandemic, or we were meeting somehow in order to take care of officers. So these that we would elect today would continue until, now correct me if I'm wrong, James, until July 1. Is that correct?
June 30.
June 30, okay. And it's the will of the board how we want to do this. Doug is our treasurer, and Doug isn't here to speak for himself today. Kathy is our vice chair, and I have been serving as your chair. And I would be happy for this whole slate to continue until June 30, just because of the situations we find ourselves in. But if there's someone who feels like, no, I want to try to do this from now until June 30, you speak now, forever hold your peace, in other words. So Debbie, do you have any comments?
Melanie, I'd like to make a motion that everybody that's in place today continue until June 30th.
Okay, a motion is on the floor that the people that are currently in place, which is Melanie, Cheryl, Kathy Ivy, and Doug Scarlett, remain in their positions until June 30th. There is our motion by Bob. Is there a second?
Second,
Joe already seconded.
Joe? Okay.
yes.
Any discussion? Then all in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Then it is so moved. We will keep the current slate of officers. And I think it is by our policy that the chair sets the committees, correct, James?
Correct.
And probably this chair is going to ask that the people that are currently serving on these committees, please stay on these committees until June 30. If that's agreeable to everyone who knows. Now, Joe, I will be talking with you to see where we could place you, because we so need you, okay? I know policy needs you.
I was going to say, I would like to see Joe on policy.
Yes, definitely. So, so Joe, don't think you're going to get loose from me. I can't get at you actually, but I know how to talk on the phone. That's for sure. So,
Okay, that's fine.
all right. I appreciate it. Anybody else need to say, I want to be on a committee? Well, I have you here. You're kind of captive right here on my computer. Or just stay with what you've been doing? Is that a nod? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Easiest year ever.
Okay. Yes, indeed. Let's just keep our committees. And that means Kay, you'll continue with nominating?
Yes.
And I'm assuming Doug will with budget, but there's several of us on budget with him. So James, I will talk with Joe in a conversation. Joe, are you at your office in the mornings or?
It's better to call me on my cell, actually. I'm not
Okay.
in the office that much now.
Okay, I think I have that number, or James does, and I'll get it from him, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, announcements is next. And the only thing-
Business,
Pardon me?
nobody else had any new business?
I didn't have anything else on my agenda, but if anybody does, please bring it up.
Okay, guess we're ready for announcements now.
Okay, the only thing I can think of is our next board meeting, which will be, if I'm not mistaken, March 16th, 1:30, and I'm assuming we will be doing a Zoom meeting again, but we'll see, right? I anticipate that.
I'm gonna
Would-
have that it will probably be a Zoom meeting in light of the fact that the court systems have already extended their in-person or have declared no in-person
Right.
till the end of March. So I'm gonna say, yes, our next meeting will be held via Zoom. So we'll make sure everybody gets the notification.
And the invitation, and it'll be at 1:30 again? Okay,
I would like to say kudos to James and the library staff for holding it together this past year. You have done an amazing job. Thank you so much.
yes,
Thank you.
definitely, always. I tell him all the time, I wish I could clone him. But I'll have to find out how to do that. I don't know. So are there any other comments?
What was
Can I
the
guess?
March date?
The March meeting is the 16th at
16?
1:30 in the afternoon. And James, if you will just do the same that you did this time and send us our invitation. I'm just so proud that we've been able to do this. I'm just very grateful for all of you.
Yep.
So,
That gives me 2 months to find my camera.
well, I hope you do, Joyce, instead of the little black staff box there that I can't see you. So I guess our last item is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
A second? All right, we have a
Thank you all.
motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. It is so
Good to
moved.
see you.
It has been a delight to see everyone. So thank you so much.
Kathy?